and welcome back once again, everyone, to another Trotec Laser Live on a Friday. I'm so glad to be back with you. I've missed a couple of these recently. Gabe has been doing an awesome job in my stead, but it is very, very nice to be back with everyone. And we're doing some kind of special events today. So for anybody who might be joining us from either our Texas or our California locations, very excited to have you guys along with us. I hope you will throw some comments in the chat. Really, today is kind of a cool event because we're going to be doing a mix of things. We've brought Alan with us, who is our local expert on all things Trotec materials. So we're going to be talking about some new materials. We're going to be doing some early Halloween decorations and applications so you guys can get excited and maybe get some of this stuff ready by the 31st of October. I should make that very clear. And then also we'll just be taking questions from chat. So if you have questions about the materials, about the applications, about anything to do with Trotec, I hope you'll throw them in the chat and let us know. We're excited to have you guys. But if this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome. We do these just about every other Friday, but you can always check on our YouTube and find out more. I'm joined today by Laser Gabe. How are you, sir?
I'm on. It's good to be here. This is basically a 1-year anniversary from when we resurged the Trotalk webinars. I remember the first one like it was yesterday, doing Halloween applications. Either late September, early October. So lot of fun here. And like I was telling you before, first time back on a laser in quite a few webinars. So I'm excited to be working on the nice Speedy 360 today and looking forward to it, ready to get going.
Yeah, man, I can see the Speedy 360 down there in the corner. Maybe I'll drop it out for the minute. So we'll bury the lead here. Everybody can kind of see our beautiful...
We'll surprise them later.
Exactly, our seasonally spooky faces. Alan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. My face is spooky year round. It's not seasonal.
I'll be clear, that was not
always
a segue.
In the spirit.
Yes. I mean, keeping in line with the theme, I'm broadcasting from inside of a skeleton currently. This is my flat white. I've got to get a nicer background, fellas. This is something we got to work on. Saying hello to everybody who's joining us in the chat, DNS and Mandy and Penny and Lorenzo. Very glad to have you all. Welcome or welcome back. So I don't want to bury the lead here too much. I want to maybe get us kicked off with some new stuff. Gabe, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the materials we're going to be using today and sort of, what might be new, what might be exciting for anybody who's watching?
Yeah, I can give you a brief introduction, and then I might swing it over to Alan to give us a better detail of each one. So the three materials I'm going to display today, one, first off being the wooden MDF. We have this in black, or at least I do. So I'll be doing a couple applications on that today. Very interesting one. I wouldn't say it's too much different laser processing-wise than the wood that we've used before, but always good to get a unique type of material in here to work on. So that's number one. The second one we have is I don't want to say white, cream colored ish Trogloss material. Standard Trolleys, basically from there, a little thicker. We've done a couple of webinars focusing on very similar styles of material with this. Very easy to run. I was actually surprised at how well the engraving or how good it looked on this one. So I'm excited to show you guys that. Have some pre-prepared ones here. And then finally, another one that we've already been using, just standard orange and black and white Trolleys, thinner, not thins, but thinner material. Always great for Halloween. This stuff shows up fantastically on a Speedy. It's almost as if it was made for it. So those are the materials we'll be focusing on today. But of course, if you have any questions about other materials, stuff like that, feel free to throw them in the chat.
Definitely. So you mentioned the all black MDF, and I think I would be remiss to not kind of pass it over to you, Alan. Am I not mistaken in saying I think that is a brand new product that maybe hasn't even popped up just yet on the store? This might be kind of a sneak peek, maybe.
Yeah, it's a new product for us. We just recently received it, so I don't know that it's actually on the store yet. It might be in Canada and not the US, because Canada got it a little bit first. But the thing that's different with this, there's lots of MDF out there that's got either a coating on it or a paint. And we're actually going to be, the next thing up that we'll be introducing is some plywood that's finished like that. The thing about this MDF is the actual resin is black. So this is black on both sides. It's black right through. When you cut it out, the finished edges are black. So it's basically like a solid black material that you might find in acrylic or Corian or other solid surface materials like that. So it's a little bit different. We're trying the black out because obviously black is a very common color. But this is something that we can offer in other colors down the road if people really like it. We can do it in just
really
about
cool.
any color we want.
Awesome. And yeah, I love the fact like you kind of you were very precise in saying it's the resin, the black resin that goes all the way through. It's not just that we've put a lacquered, black paint on top. So this won't, am I right in saying that this won't respond like a Trolleys? Like if you engrave it, are you going to see a standard wood color pop up underneath?
No, you'll see black.
Kind of black throughout.
Yeah, it's black throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very dark. I hope it shows up on camera nice because it looks very nice right in front of me, but you never know with the camera how the colors kind of contrast. But at the very least, I can once we get over to it, I have two applications that I ran on MDF. If the engraving doesn't look perfect over the camera, I'm sure the cutting will. It was very easy to run. I think actually since last week, they didn't have an MDF setting in Ruby, a standard one. So I kind of had to just go off some similar woods. And then when I looked today, they had one. And I had already made a new one that was different from that one, but about the same. So pretty standard, maybe a little softer than some of the woods that I've been using. But other than that, pretty standard stuff.
Gotcha. Question from Lorenzo, who's asking about the thickness. Alan, am I right in saying that would be like a same thickness as our standard MDF? Is it about a 3 mil?
3 millimeter, 1/8. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Very cool.
To come back to what Gabe was saying too, anything you see on the stream actually that's not perfect is the camera. It has nothing to do with
nothing to do with me. I do everything really well.
That's exactly right. I've seen it in person.
That's why my hair looks funny. It's the camera.
Yep.
It's 100%. Look, what can we tell you? The other thing I want to ask, so you mentioned about getting together a custom setting for the MDF.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you've now transitioned over to using the preset or you're still using your custom one, but kind of what, were there any challenges or anything interesting you found about working with the MDF? You said it was a pretty soft, like kind of pliable wood to work with. Not too bad.
Yeah, I was just trying to, sometimes with the Ruby settings, they like to shrink down the power and also the speed. So I like to really get in there and try to maximize speed while getting the same results. Basically all I did there is I went to the balsa setting and just sped it up just a little bit from where it was, I believe. And then I kind of just saved over that. It really didn't take too much. And then the engrave setting from that balsa wood was actually pretty ready to go. Just like a 60% power at 100 speed was more. If you want to get deeper than I didn't get too deep on mine. I wasn't really trying to. I didn't want to completely, but of course, as you can with any material, especially wood, if you really want to get deeper on certain things, there was plenty of room to do that.
Yeah, I love when we launch new woods, and it's exciting to hear Alan talk about being able to get this in a lot of different colors, because I think it is sort of not an overlooked part of our catalog, but it is one that I see so many customers using, and yet, so often I think of kind of the Trolleys and Tro Glass as kind of our core stuff, and obviously we'll have a place for those in the applications that we're doing today too, but always excited to hear we're expanding the wood applications because there are so many customers out there doing so many cool things. I think about even just yesterday, I was speaking with a customer who's doing topographic maps, all custom cut out from, interlaced pieces of wood and stuff. It just gives a gorgeous look. But did we want to jump into that first application then? Maybe we'll see, get people kind of following along at home if you like. I should warn everyone, it is a bit like a cooking show. We do have some, here's one I made earlier is ready to go, but definitely don't let that discourage you. I think Gabe's going to make sure that you guys are well taken care of with these applications. So.
Yeah, the reason being for that is we got some really cool apps on here. Some of them are really big, and they took me a minute to do, which is a-okay. But I don't want to have people sitting here watching a laser run for while we're trying to keep it within a certain time frame, and I have 3 or 4 applications to run. So I just decided to do some of the more detailed parts. So it won't be the whole application, but I have some I have everything ready to go over here so you can see what's happening both on the screen, on the machine, and then right in front of me as well. So we're to start with the MDF. I can go ahead and share my screen here. Please. Straight to Trotec Ruby, if it works. Okay, perfect. And actually, this is not the first application. So the first one we're doing is a tic-tac-toe board. This was a cool one that I found. Actually, one of our colleagues created this one in Canva. Very, very cool. We had the idea inspired online by something else, but then she went ahead and made this. So there's actually two parts to this. This is the board itself, and then we also do have like little pieces instead of just X's and O's. They are Halloween themed pieces to go with it, and I will show you guys that in a moment as soon as I begin running this here. Apologies, I'm turning on the exhaust, so if you need to mute me at any point because it's too loud, please let me know. We have our 100 power and 0.9% speed that I was talking about before, and our 60 and 100 speed right here for engraving. And I'll just go ahead and queue this up, and it should be good to go.
Awesome. As a question about that, yeah, I was gonna ask the same question.
Yes, thank you for asking. I'm gonna stop sharing Ruby now. So this is a speedy 360 80 watt system here.
Gotcha.
We have, I believe we have another one. We have two 80 watts here, and then we have I think it's a 120 watt 400 in this showroom. Plenty of lasers to work with. Anyway, I'll show you guys kind of what this originally looks like. I'll try to get nice and close, but as you can see, the lighting kind of makes it, you know, a little tough. But as you guys were pointing out, it definitely stays dark throughout most of it, but the engraving still shows up. So there's plenty of space here, plenty of room to get deeper. I did not try to get too deep on this. I kind of just gave it a little kiss, and went from there. So
I think that's the other thing too. You could inlay that with other materials if you wanted to do, you know, kind of different things. But I like that you showed off kind of the black on black result that it gives, because there really aren't very many materials that give that same. I mean, Alan, am I right in saying even if you used a solid black tro glass, it would probably come up actually more of like a foggy, like a gray color or a whitish color?
A whitish color, yeah. The cast acrylic is going to tend to turn white unless you run it out of focus, and then you can get it clear. But the other thing you can do with wood that's really, really easy if you want to increase the contrast is you can always put a paper mask on and then laser through the mask, paint, just quick spray, and then peel the mask off. And then you can have, you know, if you wanted orange letters on your tic-tac-toe board or whatever, you could do that really, really easily.
So sorry, go ahead, Don.
No, please go for it.
So yeah, the second part of this was, and kind of like you were saying, yeah, there's no limit to the art you can do once you get lasers involved, right? I mean, right now we're just doing. I mean, I have the most basic, you know, I have my MDF board, but you could paint in those areas. You could you know, use other material like you're saying to inlay them, get it deeper and nice, and you can make it real colorful. The way I chose, at least for now, just to make it simpler and display more products, is to just use our Trolays to make the tic-tac-toe pieces. So, and I have more of these, and I'll show you guys, but the first couple are just little pumpkins, black and white, and orange and black. So those are your X's and your O's for the board. And after this is done, I'll show I have there's spiders, there's ghosts, and there's bats. So, you know, lots of different you know, ways you can go about it. I thought this was a really fun one to make. Again, a lot of designers on Etsy doing similar stuff, but this one was designed right here in the Trotec building. So shout out to our marketing manager, Corey.
100%. The unsung hero of a lot of these streams, I will say.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So I wanted to ask you, Alan, because we've got you, you know, trapped here, let's be honest. You're stuck with us to answer all our material questions for the next 60 minutes. You mentioned about the Troglass being a cast acrylic.
Yes.
As long as I've got you here, could you quickly give us the kind of, explain it to me like I'm 5 difference between like an extruded and a cast, because I still feel like I get it wrong all the time.
Okay, yeah. Basically what we're talking about when we say cast acrylic or extruded acrylic is how it's actually formed. Okay? So with an extruded acrylic, it's done basically like if you've ever made cookies or a cake or whatever, and you use the little squeeze things with the tips on them, that's extruding. So you're forcing a semi-liquid acrylic through a nozzle, and in the case of acrylic sheets, that nozzle is whatever the thickness by whatever the width, and it's usually just like a flat or a rectangular hole. You push that through, and then as the acrylic cools, it takes that shape. With cast acrylic, you have a mold, and you pour acrylic into the mold, you let it settle, and it cools, and it takes the shape. The major differences between extruded and cast, besides the cost, because extruded is typically cheaper. With extruded acrylic, when you laser it, it's always going to go clear. You can't there's no tricks to make it go white. And with extruded, the thickness is going to be very, very consistent, because again, it's being forced through a shape, so it's going to take that shape.
Gotcha.
With cast, there's the ability to have it be either white or clear when you engrave. If you engrave it in focus, it's going to turn white or white-ish. But if you run out of focus, you can have it go clear. Yeah. And the disadvantage of the cast is that because of the way it's created, because of you're basically pouring into a mold, it can vary significantly in thickness. So
Gotcha.
There's actually a formula, and there's an ASI spec that all the cast acrylic manufacturers adhere to, but you're basically looking at plus or minus 10%.
Wow, of the overall thickness.
Of the overall thickness, yeah. It can be very, and that's not just sheet to sheet. That can be within sheets.
Okay.
So you could have a sheet of 6 millimeter acrylic that's 50 thou different one corner to another. So when you're doing applications where maybe you're cutting slots, or you're trying to make a box and you've got all the little edges cut out so that they interlock, you really, if you can, you want to use extruded, because it's going to be more consistent.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So, like you said, almost like a cake settling into a pan, you're not going to get a perfect unless you
Exactly.
Okay.
A cake is a perfect example, right? Even if it's flat when you pour it, when it cooks, it's going to change, right?
It's not going to be flat, yeah.
And
not when I cook it, at least.
And when it cools, it may drop in the center again, right? So that's a very good explanation of exactly what the cast process is.
So, am I right in saying that the most of our Tro glass, all that being said, is cast?
Yes, almost all of our Tro glass is cast, because it lasers better. If you're using a CNC machine, it machines much, much better. Extruded is very, very gummy when you're using tools on it. And so most of the acrylic is cast. There's also sort of a difference in the thicknesses, whether you can cast it or whether you can extrude it. Typically at around 1/8, you can do either. If it's less than 1/8, it's almost always going to be extruded, because the casting process is too difficult to get it consistent. And if it's over an 1/8, it's almost always cast, because again, extruding that much volume is very hard to do.
Right, and just increases that overall cost difference, like you said.
Correct.
Too. So
yeah.
Plus, having the cast, like you mentioned, gives you kind of that flexibility in the kind of
Exactly.
The result you want to achieve when you engrave it, right? You get that kind
Yes.
of variability in terms of how you want to. So last question then on this topic is, as concerns our clear acrylic, are those all cast then, considering that they come in a lot of different thicknesses? And
We actually have both. We have an extruded line and we have a cast line, yes.
Gotcha. I realize I've just shown my just sort of here's all the things I don't know.
That's okay. There's a lot of our products that we try to keep secret, so that's
very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do these webinars also to learn the same way you just did, Don. It's especially when we're doing the Q&As with David, I feel like I'm in class myself. So it's
oh no, when I said Alan was trapped with us, I in a Halloweeny way and also in a very literal way. Yeah. 100%.
Excellent.
You're cutting out the bats and pieces now, I take it?
So actually, while we were talking, I just decided to go ahead and start our second MDF application. And I can kind of show you the first one I already made and then the top one here. So I'll cut out the other stuff on the acrylic, but I figured, I had the MDF on there. You might as well stick with that material and then we can move on to the other stuff. But the second thing I had made, and I really like this one, is a big Halloween candy box. This is made entire. It's in the shape of a coffin. We also have one that has like a bat on it, another ghoul, but for one, I chose a spider, and this just comes right off, and you can put the candy nice and in. So this one was definitely my favorite of all the ones we chose. The only additional steps it required was, I don't know if you can kind of see, there's a second spider here that we cut out. So
that's cool.
A second layer, and we just glued that right on. Took 2 seconds, just to give it kind of more of an enhanced look than normal. But it cut out perfectly. It was really easy to put together. So really all I just did here on this one was just cut out a smaller version of that, just to show the cutting of the MDF again. So I'll show you guys that in a second here.
You know what I love about what you were showing there too, Gabe? One of the things that sometimes people struggle with is the amount of darkening you get on the edge of wood, because obviously when you're cutting it with heat, you're going to get that kind of browning and darkening and kind of that sappy. But the fact that this has that black all the way through really kind of eliminates that issue altogether. I mean, I'm not sure that would necessarily be the case if we released like a canary yellow one necessarily, where it's going to show that color a little bit more. But if you're looking,
I'd be interested to see what the yellow one looks like for sure. We could definitely do like a banana box or something like that, and it would look really cool.
You will get some darkening of the edges on any wood. It's basically the carbon in the wood, and there's no way around it. It probably again, because the resin is the color, it would probably be less than if you did a natural MDF. But you definitely would still have some browning on the edges. You will on that black. You can't see it because it's so dark anyways.
But I think that's what's really cool is, I mean, it is just another way for a customer to get kind of that's awesome, man. It looks really nice. Here, show it again.
Yeah, so I cut out the little spider to go on top like I kind of showed. I'm going to try to line it up a little better. But so that goes on here, and this is the lid. I scaled it down to size, of course, just because we're just showing it off here. What I was doing off screen was just poking out some of the things that were cut out. Maybe the only thing about doing everyone who's done any detailed cutting knows that's always something that you're going to have to deal with. But so I was just I was actually very, very innovative here. I was using the spider legs to poke some of them out here. So it worked out really well.
This is why we like having you on, Gabe. It's for the out of the candy box thinking like that.
Yeah. That's why I'm here, right?
I will say too, in terms of like laser applications too, if you end up with a bunch of small pieces that don't fall through, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to slow down or increase your power. To be honest with you, if Gabe has cut just enough that those pieces have cut through but not necessarily fallen out, that's actually probably the ideal. In the same way that when you're cutting trolleys, you don't necessarily want to blast right through it and have it fall out, because that will increase that kind of gummy, resiny feeling on the edge of your trolleys. If you can get it cut just enough, you can kind of snap it off from a sheet. You'll minimize the amount of heat that's being, embedded into that material. You'll minimize the amount of kind of that sticky kind of residue on the edges, and you'll still, be able to fly along at a super fast speed. You're still using a Trotec, pardon me. One other thing I kind of wanted to, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, that's kind of how this was here. Very definitely fully cut through, but just, falling all straight out. So no real burn other than what, Alan was saying. Initially you might see some darkness on the edge. But yeah, I mean, with this one, it being dark already. As soon as that cut, like, you really don't notice it when you're looking at the whole thing once it's all the way cut out. You mostly notice it on the part that you're not using. So that was really nice. But the setting, the just 0.9% at 100% power, or 0.9% speed at 100% power is very ideal on this particular one.
I liked your go-to too of like, if you don't have a specific setting for MDF necessarily on this setting, you just went to what was kind of that next related material, right? Is that kind of a good go-to for most?
Yeah, I'm not a wood expert either. There's a lot of different ones. I just I found one that looked close to what I would have estimated it to be, and I tried that one first, and it was pretty good. But I thought I could get it a little faster, so I knocked it down until I got to a percentage of speed in which it wasn't really cutting through anymore. And then I was like, all right, so I got to stop there and go one up. And every laser user knows this. But because we had the standard settings in there already, it really didn't take a long time to do it all.
That's awesome, man. A shout out to Laser Dave in the chat here. If you guys are doing kind of more less spooky colors of wood, and you want to know how to keep the surface of your wood as clean and as crystal clear as possible, and kind of keep the amount of post-processing you've got to do down, Dave's got 2 in particular of his laser hack series of videos that I can think of that are really, really nice, that show off both masking of a particular piece of wood and then also sandblasting a really heavily engraved piece of wood afterwards. So definitely check those out. Those are definitely worth your time.
For sure.
So, Orange.
Yes. So, figured bouncing around here, figured I'd finish the tic-tac-toe board. I'm going to finish the ensemble, if you will. I'll share my screen once again just to show you the file. So basically, this is again done by Corey. We have 4 different types of pieces, whatever you'd like to choose. We have your spooky bat and your very scary spider, your festive jack-o'-lantern, and your haunted ghostly spirit here. The original file I cut had 4 of each of these, but I think everyone gets the point, getting one of each here. For this, I'm just using a standard Trolle's 0.8 millimeter setting. This worked very well on my first run through, and I had no reason to change it, at least from what I understand. So yeah, there's nothing more else to it. This is a pretty short one too. It should be under a minute for the full cut and
awesome,
and engrave. So
I know we were getting some tips and tricks before the stream started, and the one that I always hear about Trolle's is a lot of the presets for the engraving aspect have air assist turned on. But when you're doing Trolle's, by and large, for the engraving aspect, you can turn the air assist off. You're going to minimize the amount of kind of, I mean, especially on things I imagine, Alan, I'm thinking of stuff like the red whites and those colors that are really, really tricky to do without ending up with like a red pink. You really want to try, am I right in saying you want to minimize that amount of dust, whatever color it is, that's blowing around and settling in your engraving?
Yeah, the idea of having the air assist on is for the flaming or for the burning. But what you're actually doing when you have the air assist on when you're engraving is you're taking all of that smoke and everything that's coming off of the material and that your exhaust is trying to take away, and you're pushing it right down into the sticky cut. And so all of that dust gets trapped there. So yes, always recommended whenever you're doing any of the Trolle's plastics, air assist off for the engraving and on for the cutting. And that'll give you the best results.
Also, I should say, pretty much regardless of what you're cutting, air assist on always, always, always. It is just kind of a good standard practice no matter what. But Alan's exactly right. But let's swap over. I want to see these little spooky fellas.
The only thing I'd recommend here, and I didn't bring a rag with me to just wipe any of the residue off, but I don't know how much it comes through anyway through the stream, but we have our bat and our spider. I showed you guys the jack-o'-lanterns already, but same kind of thing. The jack-o'-lanterns definitely go best with the orange, but I think everything looks good. Really, it does. And, I showed earlier the white and black one that I had already done too. That's cool. What I did a lot of them. I mean, it just with the, I don't know, the way they design the Trolle's, it comes through so cleanly. Like I had said before, you get the right settings, it almost looks like it's printed on there. So really, I mean, one of the easier applications that you'll run for sure.
Definitely.
You
and because
Apologize. I was going to say you when you were talking about the air assist being off on the standard, I had to go look. I was like, oh God, did I not turn it off myself?
No, you were perfect.
Luckily, it was indeed off, and that is because our laser engineer, our expert applications expert who runs all the machines in here, runs a very tight ship. Ron probably had it turned off on every standard setting imaginable in here. Nothing gets by that guy, so I'm glad he was there to swoop in to save me there, because I did not look at it beforehand.
No, man, I give all credit to you on that one. I think the other part of it is to, it's a good reminder that when you get your Trotec laser set up, that the presets in there are excellent, but they should represent a good jumping off point. You should never feel like you have to stick with the presets explicitly as written, that you should, feel free to try different things, experiment a little bit, see what you can come out with. We do it all the time. All the time.
Yeah. Well, lasers vary too, right? If your 80 watt might be 85, it might be 82. So every laser is going to run a little tiny bit different. And so, yeah, if you get results you like with the presets, perfect. But if you want to get, the exact right settings for your machine and exactly the way you want the product to look, because that's the most important thing, right?
Right.
Then you can go in there and you can tweak them and get exactly what you want.
Well, and to that point, obviously, over the years, your laser is slowly going to change in a similar way, right? That over the years, you might have to make some adjustments, year over year as your tube gets a little bit older and you start to lose a little bit of that wattage, to make sure that you're getting that same result as you were on day one, kind of thing.
Yep. And if you change a lens or a mirror, you're going to get more power than you were getting before you changed. So it's the presets should never really be, this is, the Bible. This is what
gospel.
We should be following. Yeah, gospel. This is what we should follow forever. It should always be, I like the results I'm getting, or I'm not happy with the results I'm getting, and I'm going to play with it a little bit till I get what I want.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and if you have somebody like Gabe or Ron or Dave, these guys can also help walk you through how to test. I mean, Gabe, you've already sort of been talking about a little bit of how you did when you were looking at the MDF and you were kind of slowly bumping up that speed, bumping it up until you hit a point where you weren't getting through, right?
Yep. Yeah, I can't think of a time where that wasn't the case, unless I forgot to focus the laser or something like that. I'm just playing with the powers and the speeds. There's some things you get more detailed in. You can go into some of the extra settings and stuff like that can make a difference. But overall, especially in cutting, I personally am always trying to optimize the speed. So I'm going to try to find, that exact perfect setting that's going to get all the way through just right, and it's going to speed up my process the best way possible.
Just want to toss that in there.
Appreciate it, Lorenzo. I really do. Thank you.
It does look great. So the finished tic-tac-toe board there, man, it looks pretty wicked.
Yeah, let me try to get a close-up more with my little webcam. I don't know if this is doing it any justice. Oh, that's the wrong one. There.
My bad.
No, that's all right. The black jack-o'-lanterns did not have a good strategy going in here with their tic-tac-toe game. They clearly lost this one. They were going to lose in two fronts, actually. That was just a poorly played game. But, it's not about that. It's about the design of the board at the end of the day.
It's true. It's true. I want to ask, the black and white jack-o'-lanterns, did you make those by doing the engraving on a black-white Trolleys, or did you stack two different colors?
I think it was just a black-white Trolleys.
Gotcha.
Yep, it's same exact setting, same everything as I did with the orange, same exact material, and again, showed up really nicely there. So
it's one thing I wanted to ask you, Alan. It's something that's tripped me up in the past when working with Trolleys is I think Gabe's design looks awesome when it is a black top layer and a white underneath. But am I right in saying that if it was inverted and you had to engrave all of that black, there's this worry about Mike Clark, legendary laser guy in our neck of the woods, always talks about engraving too much.
Yes.
Where it's, the Trolleys, when you put too much heat in it, there is always that possibility of warping, right? Or of kind
Yes.
of, so the more you can kind of optimize towards reducing your engraving,
yeah, that's so you wouldn't, if you wanted a white with black jack-o'-lantern instead of a black with white like Gabe did there, you'd just choose a material that was white with a black core. So you're always trying to get the material, and we've got over 100 different colors combinations. So you're always trying to pick the one that's going to allow you to do the least amount of engraving. But yeah, you're right. If you're doing large areas, like somebody's got a big logo they want engraved, or you're doing those pumpkins, but you're doing a whole sheet of them, you may find that the heat builds up and it starts to curl on you. So the trick is to minimize that heat that you're putting in. And one way you can do that is, instead of doing a solid black in your artwork, if you do 70% gray, then what you'll get is the same. It'll look very close to the same, but you're putting 70% less heat into the material because you're dropping 30% of the pulses out. The other thing that does for you is anybody that's ever engraved lasered plastic, especially larger areas, you see the actual raster lines in the background, right, where it goes back and forth. And you can play with your focus to try to minimize that. But usually when you change your focus, you're balancing the smoothness in the bottom with the crispness of the edges and things like that. So it's always a trade-off. So the other thing that using the 70% does is it puts a halftone pattern in the background. So you get a very consistent looking background instead of those horizontal lines that everybody knows.
Is that because it's treating it more like a grayscale tone as opposed to just the solid? Okay.
Yep. It's treating it like a grayscale, and so it's half toning it, and it's putting individual dots into it instead of a solid line of engraving, if you will.
Very cool. Gabe, I feel like you saved the best application for last. Do you want to talk us through?
Sure.
I see that's the cream one. I assume that's the cream one you were.
Yeah, this is our the lightly colored white. It's probably called white, I'd assume. I'm also colorblind, so please forgive me if I get anything wrong. Just know it's my own eyes. But yeah, this is the Trogloss we were talking about. We've done similar stuff with this before. I think it's the first time we're doing it in this color. Again, gonna bring Corey back up. She designed this file wonderfully. It's actually, I will share this. This is actually only going to be half the file that I'm showing, but then I have a finished product here as well to make sure that we can see how wonderful it looks. So this is going to be an acrylic sign. It's actually 2 different layers. One of which will be this cut. That's the more detailed layer that says trick or treat. And then the other layer is going to be, the back layer is going to be cut out just a circle engraved with some kind of sparkles in the background to add some detail. And I'll go ahead and just show you what that looks like right now, because I just thought it turned out so well. So we did with the gloss here. If you look real close with this camera, you can see we got a moon up here, the stars and everything here. So it came through real nice. Again, well, that was one of the things where I was like, it's pretty light already. I didn't know what the engraving was going to look like. And it just came through perfectly. It really stuck out. And then we used some black acrylic to make this frame here, basically, that says trick or treat with your bats and stuff. So fun, a little acrylic sign to put on your door. Multiple ways to do that. But yeah, I thought it just came through perfectly. Today, I was going to try, I'm not going to do the full thing, but instead of doing, the trick or treat part in black, I was going to see how this turned out in a cut. So basically, I'm going to invert it here and just kind of see how it turns out, just to show the cut. But again, if you need to see the engraving again, please let me know and I can do that. But Yeah, very, very cool file. Corey did an excellent job. We're using the standard acrylic Tro glass clear 3mm, which is going to be 100% power at 0.6% speed. So very cool stuff.
I like
And
how
I will
specific
run
you
that
are
in.
in breaking down the speed. It is 610.
Well,
That's
just
perfect.
some people maybe that we have people in Arlington and Anaheim. I'm actually very curious to see, what settings some of our colleagues use to get this right, because they were practicing the applications. We didn't really share many of the settings at all, so they might disagree with me entirely and still get very ideal results. So very curious to see that.
What I really like about the color you picked too, not only do I think that lighter color of engraving does kind of show up still, but with that lighter color, you could almost backlight that sign actually, and I think it would come out really, really cool too. For kind of a
that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
For those of us that really like to do the, everyone has those neighbors that go all out on Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always at least a couple people in the neighborhood that it's like they're trying to one up each other, that kind of thing. So why not add an acrylic sign to the mix?
Quick question here about the black MDF. I don't think we have a specific date yet, right, Alan? Is that true?
Well, it's in stock in the US. We just have to get it onto the web shop. Okay. So you can order it now. You just can't order it online right now.
Gotcha. So you can reach out to customer service kind of thing. And perfect. Does it come in like by the sheet, or is it in a pack, or is it in a...
We've got basically a 12 by 24 sheet and a 24 by 48 sheet.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. There you go. Yes. Also, it is one of the things I miss about, like, I live in a condo building now, like apartment building, and it is one of the things I miss about where I grew up, is that I kind of lost those guys on the street that, like, Christmas, Halloween, every holiday find a way to turn their house into a Griswold family Christmas.
Yeah, I admire the dedication. It really is something. Especially during Christmas time, actually here in Michigan now, strangely enough, we don't get as much snow in December as you'd think. But I feel like back when I was a kid, it'd be snowing and windy and horrible. And you got dads out there just up on ladders, nailing lights. Yep. I was like, I could never. I was like, maybe I'll understand when I'm older why people do that. I'm older now and I don't get it, but I admire them for their dedication and hard work.
The courage, absolutely, the courage. I agree. I mean, the ironic thing is that now that we have access to lasers, we could be that guy. We could have like one-of-one custom designs like this, and just keep telling Corey that it's for a stream, and she'll just keep giving us cool stuff to put in the house.
That's a good idea. If we had those large format lasers in here still, we could cut out like big wooden reindeer, right?
Sorry, everybody.
Be a very cool one, but
I will say, I think one of the things we want to come back to at some point here is going to be some of the backlit stuff. Maybe when it comes to Christmas, I mean, maybe there's some stuff that people want to see, but it is sort of we were talking earlier about how to use Trolleys to get obviously a 2-color result, and clearly, Trolleys is kind of built for that. But if you're looking for that kind of 3-dimensionality, like Gabe was showing earlier, there's not much that's better than acrylic. I feel like there's so much you could do with acrylic that, I'm excited for us to kind of push the boat out and see what we come up with as like a multi-layered design.
I wish, if I had known we'd be talking exactly about this, I'd show the awesome sign that Ron made in the back. You can kind of see it if you look right here where my fingers
the skyline
of the Detroit city skyline. Again, it's not lit up right now and it's not in a good spot for us to see, but it's much bigger than it looks in my camera here. A lot of work went into that, and there is of course a cord going up that lights it up into different colors. One of the coolest acrylic applications that I have ever seen in person, for sure. I mean, even in general, I believe that was all done. I don't quote me. I might be wrong. I think it was done on our SP500 in here. So just one of our bigger acrylic cutting machines. to accommodate for the size.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of work went into that. It's definitely the coolest decoration we have in here. So maybe if we do a webinar, talking about that kind of stuff, that might be I'll have to get some good pictures or a good close up of that because it really rocks.
Yeah, man, I agree. I have a personal fondness for the multi-layer acrylic signs, so I'm gonna push for that one if people want to see it because I love those applications. I think they're really cool.
I think just anything with lights, lights. You add lights to things, and automatically it becomes cooler, right? I mean,
cooler, yeah,
totally.
It's true. It's true.
So I'm trying to just real quick gonna get some of these pieces out of the frame.
Mm-hmm.
Still showed up pretty cool. I like it. Maybe I can maybe I can use a piece of MDF here to just kind of place it on real quick.
Oh, dude, that's just really nice.
Just display, how it turned out. Again, side by side comparison with the one that we made originally. So just kind of inverted. We used the black thick acrylic here for this frame, and the engraving on the gloss shows up when I'm holding them like this. I'm like a kid on Christmas showing his parents the toys he just got. So, but yeah, I think they both turned out great. I think I'd still recommend if you're going to do a 2-layer. I think I like the engraving on it a little bit more because when you're cutting out black, any sort of marks are basically erased and not seen. Whereas when you're doing light stuff, if you get just a little bit of it, it has the potential to get a little dirtier. But I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think they both turned out very good.
That white material is actually the iridescent. That's why it looks off-white. If you hold it back up to the camera again, when you turn it, you'll see that it changes color a little bit.
This one or the engraving one?
Either one. As you angle it to the camera or angle it to the light, you'll see it changes from a red to a.
Is that what gets kind of all of those holographic kind of colors? That's sort of the rainbowy. Yeah.
That's the idea. It's not a dramatic effect. It's quite subtle, but you can see it in the camera there. You can see it changing from a red to almost a greenish color.
I like that's cool. Do the iridescents come in other colors as well, or is it mostly?
There's an iridescent red and an iridescent blue.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool
making
stuff.
Iridescent Spider-Man, man. I guess it's already decided.
Yeah, I've definitely fallen in love with the gloss material here doing this. It's been every time I've ran it, it's been so much fun. It engraves even better than you think, and just being that kind of lazy material, it's designed for a Trotec laser, so it makes my life a lot easier, makes everyone who has these machines life a lot easier.
Well, and to what we were discussing earlier about the fact that so much of our acrylic is cast and kind of at that same 1/8, 3mm size. When pairing colors together, even if you're doing interlocking parts, if you're doing stackable items and stuff like that, you don't need to worry about a lot of discrepancy between different colors and different things. It's all going to kind of work together as a piece, without you having to do too much.
I like lazy. That's We should trademark
TM. Yeah. TM for our line of beanbag chairs. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of it. It's lazy because you don't have to do much work to get it to look good.
Yeah, it's true.
Definitely not. I can attest to that, as I just did.
It's a really good selection of stuff, man. You did a great job.
Thank you. Always good to have graphic designers there to help you too. But yeah, again, just talking about the convenience of it, once you have these files ready to go, getting it to the laser is the easiest part, right? You're basically just printing it out and it's cutting and engraving for you instead of spreading ink across it. So
yeah,
very easy stuff.
One of the things I liked about what you showed too is how scalable it is. That to be able to just kind of take a design that you're making on a certain scale and just quickly using Ruby, scale it down, make 10 of them at a smaller size, kind of do whatever it is that you need that design to do in a really simple way. Particularly with vectors, obviously, we're able to scale them, to whatever speedy machine you happen to be running at that point and just easy peasy, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I didn't even go over that, how you know, especially if you were like, say, you know, you're doing the smaller tic-tac-toe pieces, you could do hundreds of those quickly. You know, when you're doing these bigger things with a little more detail, you're gonna, you know, accommodate a little more material for it. Obviously, if you're gonna make you know, a 10-inch candy box that also goes about 4 or 5 inches high, you know, everything is different. But Ruby allows you to optimize your process and make as many of these as possible. Because when I first got these files, you know, I had to kind of switch them around within Ruby to make it, you know, like I'm talking about, to optimize it, to make sure everything fit into one sheet, and that I could save time. And you know, the Ruby software really allows you to do that. Again, I was just talking about how little time it actually took me. It's just a matter of dragging a few things and pressing play, and it was good to go.
Yeah, man. Especially with, like we were talking about before too, with all the built-in presets, it just makes things really, really simple, really straightforward. And profiles, of course, too. Don't forget profiles. Once you set up something, you know, if you're doing these on a business side, you know, through your Shopify account where people can order these, you know, directly from you, you know, being able to do that integration where somebody is just submitting something basically right to your laser queue, and you've already got all the systems and everything put together. Like you said, you're just hitting play in that classic pro lazy way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I think we've kind of passed through the vast majority of the questions that we had in the chat, so we can start to maybe wind things up a little bit here. I will say, you know, a big thank you again to everybody who's watching, particularly those joining us at the watch party. We're very excited to have you guys, whether you're in California, whether you're in Texas, whether you're joining us on YouTube. Always very happy to have you there. If you're watching this later on, watching the VOD on YouTube, feel free to leave any questions underneath the video, and we will definitely get back to those as quick as we can. If you're looking to order any of our materials, I'll see if I can pop it up here on the screen. But you can visit, here we go, little shop.troteclaser.com if you're in the United States. And is it still shop.troteclaser.ca, Alan, in Canada? Am I right in saying that?
No, it's shop.troteclaser.com, and then you can pick your country. It's
perfect.
/EN-US for the US, or EN-CA. But if you just go to shop.troteclaser.com, it'll let you pick your country if you haven't been there before. Otherwise, it'll default to your chosen country.
Awesome. Once you're on the website, feel free to sign up, get yourself a free account, and you can start enjoying all the various, what would you say, Alan? I think we have something close between 100 and 200 if you count all the different colors and things, different materials, and kind of optimized Trotec.
We've got about 1,000 different materials. I was just talking about the Trolaze itself colors. We have about 100 different Trolaze colors.
Wow. Okay. Dang, man. People are going to run every time we show a technique on these things, it inevitably happens that within like 5 days we go on our Instagram or we go on our Twitter or whatever it might be, and we'll see that people have just taken that technique and blown us absolutely out of the water.
That's how it should be.
That's true. If we can inspire you guys, we've done our jobs. Again, a huge thank you to everybody for joining us. Thank you to Gabe and to Alan for hopping on the stream today. You guys did an awesome job. I very much appreciate you. Thank you to Corey and Dave and everybody who joined us in the back and helped us put together these designs. Realistically, I think I've got the easiest job here, where I just show up and get to enjoy watching people make cool stuff. But again, if you guys have anything that you'd like to ask us now or going forward, feel free to toss it in the chat or in the comments underneath YouTube, and we'll do our best to get back to those. Last quick question here from Jeff. Asking, so that new product, is it likely to be listed under the Tro wood or in the wood category of the website?
Yeah, it'll be under the MDF in the wood category.
Perfect. I appreciate you guys. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll look forward to seeing you. I believe our next stream is going to be on October 9th, if I'm not mistaken, Gabe.
Yeah, so we'll have some more details out about that. We will be focusing kind of on the EDU side of things. We'll have our new educational representative, Brett Becker, on, I believe, as well as maybe another guest or two. But again, we'll get you some more details there. That's just in a couple weeks coming up here. It'll be on a Thursday. And then our next one after that will be in the same month on Halloween, Friday, October 31st. So Don will have a chance to dress up in our costumes if you'd like. Where we'll be doing just another one of our standard Ruby Q&As. Always very popular, always get a lot of questions. I believe we'll have Laser Dave on that one as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Gabe. Looking forward to it. Listen, hope
Me too.
everybody can join us for that stream. But if not, everybody take care. Have a fantastic weekend. We look forward to seeing you in the future at another Trotec Laser Live. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.